Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scared Soldier back with another Borderlands 3 video, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys the best Zane build in the game in my opinion, and let's get right into it. So what I did was I simplified it for you guys so you guys can make this build happen quickly and farmable, because sometimes it's really annoying to farm like 10 different pieces of gear or slash weapons with the perfect anointment, perfect elements, all that stuff. So I just broke it down to 3 weapons that you guys need. So you need the redistributor for mobs, for single target enemies, and also bosses. You're gonna want to have the light show, and also to equip for your clone. With all Sentinel Cryo anointments, that's the main anointment we're using, by the way. And then lastly, you're just going to want to have a back burner real quick. So just over here, we're going to have a back burner, and that's all you guys need. And for the actual shield, you're going to want to have Old God. You're going to want to have an Old God with Cryo, because all your guns are going to have a secondary Cryo damage, of course, with the Sentinel Cryo anointment. And that's going to be good because you're going to be getting that 20% extra cryo damage on top of that from the Old God. If you use any other Old God and you are not matching the elements, so if you are not using the element that you choose, so let's say I put radiation on, you will not be getting this radiation damage because I'm not using any radiation. So in order to get the bonus from the Old God, you have to actually be using the actual element itself. So that's why you want cryo, because it's always active. Now when it comes to the grenade, try to get yourself a cryo recurring hex with the anointment that you see on my radiation one. So on grenade thrown, weapon, grenade, and action skill damage are increased by 25%. This is going to be really nice because this is really just a fast-paced build. This is not ASC build, because we want to just be absolutely keeping our action skills active, because they are so powerful right now that it's not worth killing them off. So that's what you guys are wanting. And obviously with the cryo recurring hex, it's going to help you freeze enemies, which is going to be good. So when it comes to the class mod, Seeing Dead, that's the only one you need. Now try to get one with +5 or as many points as you can into Donnie Brook, because the more points, the stronger your clone is going to get, and also the more health regeneration you and your clone are going to get, which is very nice for survivability. For the bottom rolls, you're going to want bottom rolls that are weapon specific. So mainly the weapon we're using, you see, is the redistributor. So the one we have is perfectly classed for the redistributor. Also, if you can find one maybe with pistol damage for your light show, that would be also a good idea, so you could swap between the two. Now you're going to want to have 2 things. You want to have Icebreaker Victory Rush with the rolls that you guys see with the cryo efficiency and cryo damage. The other roll, you can try to get pistol damage on it, SMG damage, or heavy weapon damage are all good rolls, but make sure you guys have cryo efficiency and cryo damage. That's going to be the best type of rolls for this setup. And then for your boss destroyer, if you guys are good with slide shooting, I recommend having the snowdrift. You're going to be doing most damage with the snowdrift by slide shooting your back burner. So just if you want to try one shots, have a snowdrift in case. Now when it comes to the skill tree, quick, here is a skill tree very similar to Pain Zane. This pretty much is a nice setup here. If you guys want to use fractal frags, I recommend taking 1 point out of borrowed time and putting 1 point into fractal frags, but I love for my clone to be shooting, because he shoots and hits very hard. So if he has to throw grenades, it's going to be stopping him from shooting, which is something I don't want. The Seeing Dead with the fractal frags makes your clone shoot a lot of grenades out, and that can sometimes be annoying because you want him to shoot enemies. Now that's why I don't have at any points into fractal frags. But now if you guys see the bottom tree, we got double barrel. This is going to give us some gun damage after swapping places with our clone. It's also going to give our clone the ability to have our light show equipped, which is awesome. And also we are getting 36% extra cryo damage for enemies not targeting us, which is also very nice with Trick of Light, because the Guardians, for whatever reason, hate the clone a lot, so you're going to be dealing a lot of damage quite frequently. This obviously doesn't apply to every enemy. The enemies cannot target you, so whenever you see enemies that are surrounding and try to shoot at your clone, that means that this will be active, which is awesome. And then we have which one's real is the augment with Doppelbanger. And then when it comes to the clone setup, we have all the DPS we would ever need. We have reload speed, we have movement speed, which means more damage, violent momentum, which is the best perk for Zane in the game. We have salvation for sustainability. We have drone delivery to drop those recurring hexes. We have death falls close to make all our kill skills that you guys see stronger and more effective. And also we have more fire rate. We have 5 out of 5 in Playing Dirty, simply because we are using a +5 in Donnie Brook. All you really need is 5 points into Playing Dirty, and you guys are going to be good to go. And then we have 1 in Good Misfortune, because with Seeing Dead, all you need is 1. There's diminishing returns, so you're going to have 100% uptime for your action skills as long as you're shooting at things, or at least your clone and sentinel are shooting at things. And then finally, you need the scene red because this is just awesome for bosses, because right when you get into the boss fight, boom, you instantly call out your action skills, which every Zane character does, and all your kill skills are active, and it saves you about 5 to 6 seconds, so you can absolutely just jump in and get a fast kill time on those enemies. Now, when it comes to the barrier tree, we have nothing in it because we don't need it. Confident competence, to get there, we need 11 points, and if we put 11 points into here, what's going to happen is we're going to lose out on getting the double capstone setup, and it's way more worth it to have actually a double capstone, because this already gives your clone the ability to have your copy of your gun equipped, and that does millions of damage. So 35% or up to 35% gun damage from confident competence is already blowing out the water from this perk alone. Plus Trickle Light's giving you 36% cryo damage bonus, which is elemental damage, which is valued way more than just weapon damage anyway, for about 50 to 60% of the enemies you're shooting at. So confident competence is blowing out the water, so we easily replace that. Brain freeze we do not need at all because we have the icebreaker, which gives us more cryo efficiency of 53%. But when you include the 33% cryo efficiency on the bottom roll, that gives you almost 100% cryo efficiency, which means freezing enemies with just the icebreaker is insanely easy. Now, when you tie that in with having a secondary cryo damage as well, which this Anointment Sentinel cryo gives us, now we're doing cryo damage plus more cryo efficiency, means we're going to be freezing things very easily, so we don't need brain freeze. And then this build is not dependent on the green tree whatsoever, so we don't need to have a shield full or half full, or it doesn't matter how full our shield is. Zane is not a bloodletter Moe's, for example, so keeping his shield up is not the easiest task, especially when you're not using a barrier or all-rounder. So the fact of the matter is he's better keeping himself alive with just salvation. Between your sentinel and your clone doing damage to enemies, you don't even have to shoot anything, and you're going to be able to keep yourself alive by your sentinel and clone shooting things. And also with your sentinel and clone shooting things, what's going to happen is it's going to easily keep up your scene dead / kill skills. All your kill skills will just remain active because your sentinel will be shooting things, your digiclone's gonna be shooting things, which is crazy. Now for the augments for the sentinel, we're using Winter's Drone to help us freeze enemies, so icebreaker can be very effective for those mobs. And then bad dose is going to weaken enemies, making Zane faster and shoot faster as well, so that's really awesome. And then we're also going to be using the barrier because we need the barrier for the interaction with the redistributor. So basically, this is a hybrid build because we are using all 3 action skills when necessary. So for big mobs, we're going to be using the barrier with our redistributor with our sentinel. So it'll be a barrier sentinel build for the creature section of the Guardian Takedown, for example. And then once we get down to the crystals, all we need is the clone and sentinel for the remainder of the time, because the clone will distract the guardians for us, which makes our time at the crystals a lot easier. And our sentinel is going to be good because it will create some sort of nuisance for the enemies and also make us stronger and just keep up everything. And that anointment is very important. Now that's really cool because again, with the old god, we're basically adding another 20% crowd damage, so we're really doing 120% bonus crowd damage, which is really nice. So yeah, we're doing a lot of damage with this build, guys. Overall, it's the best build in my opinion, and I'm going to get to that in a second on why it's the best build. So for the Guardian rank and the Guardian for the Mayhem mode, we are using Speed Demon Buddy System. I'm going to show you guys how to deal with Buddy System really easily with Zane. And Speed Demon is going to help you get more damage with Zane since he's a character based off of speed. So the faster you move, the more damage you do. Speed Demon does just that. So that is the best 2 rules for there. The middle rules, I mean, the medium and hard, you guys can find some good ones, some passive ones. There's a lot of like medium rules and hard rules that really are not that bad to deal with. So that's pretty much it for that. I'm going to show you guys a bit of gameplay and also how this build works. Alright guys, so what I'm going to show you real quick too is that +5 in the Donnybrook. That, look how much, so basically the Donnybrook, this effect stacks twice. So whatever stats you guys see, like the weapon, the gun damage and the health regeneration, that stacks twice. So we're actually getting, with 2 action skills active, 90% gun damage, plus we're getting 15% health regeneration per second of missing health, which is literally insane. And that's for both Zane and his clone. So that's why I recommend having more points into Donnybrook. That's why you guys see it's pretty insane. So what I'm going to show you guys right here too is how to deal with those buddy systems. So all you're going to do is point with your sentinel. Your sentinel's going to come over and absolutely destroy those buddy systems like you guys saw here. So we got another one right here. Boom, just point at it and then it's gone. So that's all you got to do to deal with those buddy systems real quick, because sometimes they can get annoying. So that's what you see me doing here. I just point with Zane, Sentinel will come over, blow them up, and that's it. See, it takes like 2 shots, and those guys are done. That's why the Sentinel is very, very valuable as well for this build. So although the Sentinel is good for activating our anointment on our weapons, it's also really good to kill buddy systems and also make Zane stronger with bad dose. And also can throw down your grenade with drone delivery, the recurring hex to help you freeze enemies, so Icebreaker is more effective. And also Winter's Drone makes his primary weapon cryo, so he can also freeze enemies for you, which is awesome, which means Icebreaker is going to be really prevalent and you can take advantage of that. So that's pretty much it. Now the other thing I wanted to show you guys was Zane's sustainability real quick. So because we have health, look, I don't have a barrier on at all. I'm using clone and the drone. So look at one of my clone shoots. Watch my health go right up. See? Let me take some damage real quick for you guys. My clone's kind of killing everything, so hold on, let me get some damage. Come on, kill me. Look at our action skills killing everything. I can't even look at this. Alright, let me try to get this for you. Okay, see I'm taking damage? Okay, that's fine. I don't care if I go down. Oh, and by the way, your action skills give you second wins. That's also something. So look how low I am in health. Saw how my health instantly went back up, guys? Alright, so we got a buddy system. Boom. Clone's gonna come, the drone is gonna come over. Boom, that's gone. Give me, hit me. There we go. Look at my health. Instantly back full. Instantly full, guys. That's because of salvation. See, that's what I'm telling you guys. You do not need barrier. Between your clone and your drone killing things, shooting things, you have instant health back every single time. So your sustainability is good. And if I shoot something, so let me take a hit real quick. Oh, that's frozen. Alright. Give me some, hit me. There we go. Insta full. Look at that, insta full. Insta full. See, I do not need the barrier, guys, at all with this setup. So that's pretty much that. Alright guys, so we're going to take this build to the ultimate test, which is the Guardian Takedown, the hardest content in Borderlands 3 right now, and this is going to show you just how crazy this build is overall. So what we're doing first, because we are going against a big group of mobs, aka all these little creatures, what we're going to be doing is relying on the redistributor to get through these guys really fast. So what we need is the barrier, and by the way, we're using the normal barrier, not using all-rounder, so you guys are gonna also see the survivability is actually quite good with this build. So the fact that we're using the redistributor with the barrier is very crucial here, because this is going to help us take out these mobs really quickly. Now we could use the clone as well instead of the barrier with our light show and just kill all these enemies as well, but I feel like it's faster to actually kill with the redistributor, since this thing can kill 2-3 enemies at the same time, which is really valuable to us, which is good for the sake of time. Now when it comes to the Sentinel, you guys are noticing that we are still applying the same principles. We are pointing out or calling out those buddy systems, so our Sentinel goes over and absolutely destroys them. What that does is it saves us time from kind of, having to aim and try to fire at these small little targets. The Sentinel takes care of that for us, so we can just literally focus on killing these enemies, which is what you see here. Now situationally, we will pull out the light show when there is no groups of enemies together, because the redistributor is not very good against a single target. So anytime we come against a single target with nothing around him, we will simply pull out the light show and that will end that. So that pretty much concludes this part of the Guardian Takedown. I'm going to go over and see you guys at the crystals. Now at the crystal section, this is where it's going to show the versatility of this build. So we're going to be putting on the shock redistributor and the shock light show, because this is what the enemies are weak to, and because we have that extra Sentinel cryo damage, it's going to be really helpful for dealing against enemy armor. So the combination of the cryo and the shock is going to be perfect for these type of enemies. So again, we are sticking with the barrier for this part here before we activate the crystals, because there's a lot of enemies around in one area, so killing them as fast as possible is with this method right here with the barrier and the redistributor. You guys see, like I said, the redistributor is Zane's best mobbing weapon. That is why it is extremely crucial that we keep the redistributor on our hands, because it's just an easy, smooth weapon to use, and it's very nice because it also keeps your action skills up really effectively at the same time. So when it comes to the crystals, which you guys are going to see, we're going to be switching over to the clone in a second, and I'm going to show you guys that part right now. Okay, so now we're going to equip the clone instead of the barrier. This is going to be really nice because now the clone is going to take all the aggro off of us, so we can just sit back, relax, and do these crystals with ease. And what you guys are going to see here too you see that I'm just shooting, right? With no purpose, really just kind of shooting to shoot. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to keep my action skills active by causing some sort of damage, because I find that sometimes if you do not shoot, your sentinel will go away, and the sentinel has quite a bit of a cooldown, so I always want to keep my sentinel full. So that's why I'm just popping off a couple shots, trying to keep my action skills full, since for the most part it's mostly my clone dealing with the enemies. But you see how quickly we took care of that crystal with this method over here. So same principle, we're just looking for the portal. So we see the portals on this side, so we put the clone wherever the portal is. And again, we just sit nice and pretty, just trying to pop off a couple shots to keep our action skills active, take out these guys, and that's pretty much the crystals. This went really quickly. Overall, this whole Guardian takedown took me between 20 to 22 minutes to complete, which is pretty quickly because I pretty much killed most of the enemies in the game. I only did 2 skips, which are pretty easy skips. Everybody does in this Guardian takedown anyway. But 22 minutes. My fastest time, I think, probably be under 20 minutes if I actually stop going in and out of my menu to swap through stuff and things like that, and just do literally a whole playthrough without going to my menu once. But I mean, I do have to switch to my clone from time to time, so that's the case. But for this scenario here, you see why the clone is perfect. And for the remainder of the Guardian takedown, we pretty much only use the clone and the sentinel now, because we don't really need the redistributor anymore. The reason being is because for the majority of the rest of the mobs, we can just skip by them, so you're gonna see that in a second. But you see how easy this build is, guys. It's my favorite build in the game, and I'm gonna actually explain that a little further. So why this is my favorite build in the game is because Sentinel Cryo for me is the best anointment for Zane in the game. Reason being is, number one, you can get that up to 120% cryo damage with the Old God, so it's not that far off from the best elemental anointment in the game, which is 5150. So 5150, for those who don't know, is essentially when your health is under 50%, you gain 150% radiation damage. That 150% radiation damage is the most elemental damage offered by any anointment in the game, okay? But it comes at a big cost. First of all, you're going to be losing a little bit of DPS if you do spec into all-rounder, because you have to put those 11 points into the green tree, which means that you're not going to be able to get to either the blue tree's capstone or the red tree's capstone. So automatically you're going to be losing some damage anyway in return to get that 150%. Then survivability wise, with all-rounder, survivability can be pretty good with the 5150 anointment. Although splash damage, random projectiles can down you really quickly, and you might find yourself going down quicker than normal, and that is because you are quite vulnerable at that low of health, especially with a Zane. Now the next thing with that setup is that front loaders, that's the only shield you're limited to. I much prefer using a variety of shields like Old Gods, Transformers if I feel like it, any shield in the game, but with the 5150 anoint, I have to stick with one shield and one shield only, which kind of sucks because the Old God is such a good shield. Also, like I said, the Sentinel Cryo, on the other hand, is really nice. Cryo in general in this game is actually a better anointment because most of the enemies in this game will have armor. Armor is harder to deal with than normal shield. So even if an enemy has a blue bar above their red health, which radiation is better for, Cryo rips through shields anyways, because I find shields are weaker than armor anyway. So you don't need as much damage to deal with armor as opposed to shields. So Cryo, for that matter, is better for the stronger enemies. Like you see in the Guardian takedown, all the Guardians have armor on. Cryo is way better at dealing against armor than radiation is, and that's where radiation will suffer. All the tough bosses as well at the Guardian takedown and also Wotan also have armor. So the Sentinel Cryo is better. The radiation is going to be weaker against that, therefore it's not going to be as good. Sentinel Cryo as well, you have more survivability because you don't have to jeopardize your health. You can have your full health up to 19,000 with Zane, and you can also deal a ton of damage and freeze enemies, which allows you to also use Icebreaker more effectively. Now, Brain Freeze is very, very effective, but when you have Sentinel Cryo, plus you have the Icebreaker, you guys can basically freeze any enemy you guys want, which is pretty impressive. So that's another really cool thing. So icebreakers active more and all that stuff. So overall, Sentinel Crow is the best Zane anointment in the game. Now there are particular situations when 5150 can be more viable, and also where the ASC anointments can also be quite viable. But overall, as a balance, as an in-between, the Sentinel Cryo is the best in the game, and you guys are looking at the result. We are flying through this takedown with ease, so that is what I wanted to highlight right over here. So back into the gameplay real quick, and we are fighting the mid boss, and you guys are looking at insane amount of damage between me and the clone right now. This is really wild. I'm not even using a back burner, which probably would one-shot each of his phases, but we're just having so much fun with the light show, and you guys are seeing how effective it is. Although he's also reflecting our bullets off of him, we are still managing to do a lot of damage. So all we're really doing over here is, first of all, elemental matching him. So right now he has his shield left, so we're using shock. And what we're doing is we're calling in the clone, getting him down to his immunity phase, and once we get him directly to his immunity phase, we kill off our clone so we can get him back on cooldown immediately while we're waiting for this guy to do his ultimate attack, because that would kill our clone if we left him there, and then we just pop him right back in every single time, and you guys are seeing the result. Pretty effective strategy in my opinion. Now I don't always like to stay at the edge of the platform, because sometimes you can get randomly hit off and it kind of slows you down. So the fact of the matter is I just sit here, wait for him to do it, and I actually get all that speed boost when I jump back onto this platform, and I can just absolutely do a lot of damage with that speed, and then that is the end result. So over here, same concept. What we're doing is we just pop our clone off, and what we do really over here is, because we want to make this jump, we wait for one stack of speed demon. So we just wait for our clone to get one kill, and when we see that red flashing around our screen, we are ready to go. And now we know we can make the jump with snowdrift. That's why I recommend you guys have a snowdrift. Boom, so we made that jump with ease. And now the crystal section is very similar to the other one. Now I wanted to leave this whole gameplay, pretty much the majority of the gameplay, in this video, because I wanted to showcase everything for those who have not completed the Guardian takedown yet. I wanted to show you guys that everything's legitimate. We didn't do anything crazy. We just used this entire build to do the takedown, and it was, I think this was the easiest time I had at the takedown ever with any build I've used, is this build right here. So what you guys also need to know with the clone is that you just want to put him in front of any enemy. What we're doing here is we're doing that right here, and he keeps distracting all of them. And remember, we're getting Trick of Light bonus. Trick of Light is 36% extra crowd damage, which is really nice. So all those enemies who are not targeting us, like you guys see right here, they're all chasing after our clone. Anytime we pop a shot on them, we're getting that bonus 36% cryo damage, which is really nice. So you see that we're sitting nice and pretty during this crystal section here. It's pretty much the same thing throughout the whole entire fight. So once we complete this crystal, we're gonna head over to show you some of the skips we did again. So we are going to get ready to make these jumps. So we're putting on our snowdrift really quickly. We have our clone ready to go. So same exact concept. We're going to be putting our clone right near the portal where these enemies spawn at, and we're going to be waiting to get one stack of speed demon. So I'm just putting a couple shots in this area here so I can keep my sentinel active for a little bit more, because don't forget we have on our shield the sentinel movement speed extra 15%, so that's also going to help us make that jump a little easier. So now that we have that red flashing around our screen, we know that we have enough for the jump. And look how far we jump, guys. It's insane. And we're going to do this a second time real quick. Boom. And it's as easy as that to make those jumps, guys, and you guys can skip all those ads, which saves you guys literally about maybe 10 minutes, which is really sweet. Now, since we're at the boss, it's the same thing as the mid boss, and actually I find this guy is even easier than the mid boss. So we're just using the same exact thing. We're using the light show to showcase how extremely strong it is with you and your clone. And what we like to do too, a couple strategies, is we just keep our clone in the center of this map here. The reason why we keep our clone in the center of the map is because, first of all, those guys with the orbs above their head, your clone can actually sustain that damage, and look, he's still alive. So what's going to happen there is that every time we get Scourge into immunity, he goes back to the center, and our clone's already waiting for him at the center. Why do we put our clone at the center? Because he brings in those guys with the orbs close to Scourge, so we don't have to do the dirty work, and it's going to take Scourge out of his immunity phase, and then we can just go to town on him. And look how easy this is, guys. This strategy is literally like you don't even have to have skill anymore to get through this. Put your clone in the center, and then look at this, guys. We missed the skip here, but we did get the second skip. I'll show you guys this part real quick too, how we dealt with this. But it's pretty much rinse and repeat. But I did want to show you guys, like I said a little earlier, I wanted to show you most of all the footage of the Guardian takedown. I didn't want to keep too much of your time, but I want to show you guys how crazy this build is. And how good it is. I mean, there's no better Zane build in the game. I don't care who your favorite YouTuber is, even if I'm your favorite YouTuber. This is the best build. You guys don't have to look any further. The way we set up the skill tree, the way the weapons we use, the amount of weapons you need is very easy to acquire because you only need 3 weapons for this build. I mean, what you guys just saw us pretty much use a light show and a redistributor the whole time. We'd even touch a back burner. All right, so you don't even need a back burner. Simple. Just gotta farm Wotan, farm the light show on DLC 3, and you guys have a build ready to go. Pretty simple stuff. Follow the skill tree that I set out for you guys, and you guys will be doing massive amounts of damage. Remember when this thing first dropped, guys, how hard it was? Obviously, they scaled the enemies down a little bit more, but look how easy we're making this feel. I can do this whole takedown, like I said, in 20 minutes, which is pretty impressive. So that's not including any door skips, so not skipping through doors and stuff like that, like Garwood does, blah, 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 actually killing most of the enemies. A little under 20 minutes is pretty solid time. And I want to show you guys a skip real quick, so we're going to go over there real quick. Oh, we got the portal open, so never mind. We don't have to actually show you the skip just yet because it's going to happen very soon. So, with that being said, guys, I hope you guys give this build a chance. It is the best build in the game. It uses all of Zane's action skills whenever the situation presents itself. We use the barrier with the redistributor because that is really nice to deal with mobs as fast as possible. When we have to deal with something like the Guardian takedown, we can use the clone to distract the enemies to do the crystal section with ease. And if you do any other content in the game, you can use anything you want because anything after the Guardian takedown or before the Guardian takedown, for that matter of fact, is a lot easier. So pretty much you can just run around with your clone, with your drone. You can do the barrier, the half barrier without all-rounder with your sentinel, and just absolutely destroy everything in the game. And then if you want to one-shot bosses, throw on your snowdrift, slide shoot your back burners, one-shot those bosses. There's not much else to really do with this build, man. So I think that concludes Zane builds for the channel, guys. I think there maybe be one more Zane build, but I don't even know if there's even a point of putting that out for you guys because this is the only build that I'm pretty much going to use until they update the game or maybe create a new anointment. While we do this skip real quick, watch this. Boom. Look at that little skip over there, guys. Pretty cool stuff. But yeah, so we're probably going to maybe do a barrier and sentinel like our bloodstained Zane. One more Zane build, but this one is the best Zane build in the game. So anything I kind of post after this, unless I actually say it in the video, is not going to be better than this build. So go ahead, give this build a chance, guys. It's amazing. And that's pretty much it. So I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of the gameplay while we absolutely destroy Scourge real fast. Make sure you put your clone in that center, and you don't have to do anything else. You can just run around the map, watch your clone, just chill there, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, guys, smash that like button for your boy for giving you the best Zane build in the game. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Please subscribe to the channel. Road to 2,000 subs is alive. We really got to get these subs up because we should get it, man. We should get it. A lot of you guys have been following the channel for a while, so share this with your friends, all that good stuff. But anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next video. It's your boy Scare Soldier signing out. Peace.
Await my return in fear and blood.
For efficiency, I've created a form to take notes when you go on missions. Now I can check off